from the local station. This is Weather Authority Weekday.
All right, well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. It's our Weather Authority Weekday streaming show, and we will be talking about the cold. That is the big message as we head over the rest of the week, even into next week. Temperatures will be well below normal. Let's take a live look outside because you might be seeing the sunshine thinking it's warm out there. It isn't. Yeah, we're pretty chilly out there. Temperatures this morning for most of us in the 20s. We are in a widespread freeze. And this is just the beginning because likely every night this week temperatures will be at or below freezing. Green Cove Springs there in Clay County, we are tracking more sunshine overhead. You can see that, not seeing any rain or anything like that or any liquid precipitation, because if that happened now, it wouldn't be in the form of rain, it would be in the form of snow because it's so cold out there, but not seeing any of that locally. Julington Creek, our marina camera there, and we are tracking more of that sunshine. A temperature there of 34 degrees, but again, we need to factor in the wind. That northerly wind at 10 is making the feels like temperature be in the 20s. So it feels like 26 right now in Julington Creek, and over in downtown Jacksonville, we are looking at 37 degrees, but again, it feels like 29 with a northwesterly wind right around 11 miles per hour. So that is chilly out there. Jacksonville International as well, we are looking at 37, and that northwesterly wind continues to be up there. Now, temperatures this morning, this was a widespread freeze across our area all the way to the coast. Even St. Augustine, upper 20s, 29 in Mayport, 27 in Brunswick this morning, upper 20s in Orange Park, Lake City, as well as McClenny, 25 and 27 respectively, and then up to Waycross, 24. So this cold air is really far reaching. It's a deep drop into the country, and that is coming in from Canada. So it is a very expansive area of cold air, and that Arctic eye pressure is overhead. That's to our west, and that's keeping our weather dry. Another thing you can tell, you can see off the coast, some of those clouds developing. Typically when you get that very cold air, you get those signatures on satellite all the way down to the Carolinas, and looks like another dry front will be approaching our area, and that'll usher in more cold air as we head over the next couple of days. Now temperatures, well, with the sunshine, we're rebounding. Most of us are at or above freezing. However, when you factor in the wind again, it feels like the 20s across our area. Currently up to 34 in Brunswick. We have St. Mary's at 36. Jacksonville reporting 37, 38 in Green Cove Springs, and we have Palatka in the upper 30s. So with that wind, it's certainly feeling a bit cooler out there. Make sure to bundle up, dress in multiple layers, as when you get that wind, that really makes the temperature feel much lower than it actually is. Now, in terms of our forecast, as we head over the next couple of hours, look for temperatures. How about that? We're stuck in the 40s to right around 50 degrees, but even with the breeze, feeling like the 40s for the entire day. And then by around 6 o'clock, temperatures already in the 30s to low 40s. So you get the idea. We are setting the stage for another very cold day. As temperatures, as I mentioned, most of us, even though some of us might touch 50, it will not feel like that across our area. Futurecast shows we'll keep that clear sky around. And even into a Wednesday morning, we are looking at a northwesterly wind, and that's ushering in, again, that cold air over us. And we have another freeze warning in effect. That's for our entire viewing area. This is for Wednesday morning, and that's for that widespread freeze that we have. This is, again, for our entire area. Low temperatures overnight, more of the same, 20s and 30s across our area. So, again, you want to make sure you take those protective measures. Make sure to allow the water faucet to drip. That prevents pipes from bursting, especially if you have any exposed outdoor pipes. And again, for the most part, most of us in the 20s to low 30s. Highs for the day tomorrow, a few degrees warmer, mid to upper 50s for many locations. So it will be still a very chilly day out there, but we're about 10 degrees below normal across our area. Wednesday, some filtered sunshine around, but again, we're not looking at any rain across our area. In terms of the cold, I want to show you this because look at all of that cold across the central and eastern part of the country. So as we advance, here's Thursday into Friday. I want to draw your attention, though, as we advance into the weekend, because we'll likely see our biggest shot of cold air. Look at those brighter colors there. That is very cold, even into Sunday. You can see that we do have a trough across the eastern part of the country. You see the jet stream dipping down and then up, and that is that colder air really diving down. And at the same time, we are tracking the potential for something wintry, maybe in the southeast. especially across the Carolinas. So I'll talk about that in just a moment, but look at our low temperatures over the next couple of days. Maybe at or above freezing Friday and Saturday at best. But again, when you factor in the wind, because it will be very windy over the weekend, that is going to allow temperatures to drop. So let me show you our weather models that we have. And what we are looking at, this is our GFS model. And what we're tracking across our area is the potential, once again, for some wintry weather. So by Saturday, an area of low pressure will develop. And that area of low pressure, as we move up a little bit more, there'll be some colder air on the back side of the system. And you'll see this develops along the GFS, potentially some snow across the Carolinas. Now that is depending on, once again, how fast the area of low pressure moves and really the amount of cold air in place. But you can see the wraparound moisture on the backside of that system. In fact, let me go into the menu here. We'll back this up a little bit. So it does show, once again, the potential for maybe a flurry into Georgia, but this model generally keeps any wintry weather to our north and east. But it's something we'll have to monitor across the area because, again, it depends on where the cold air is and where it sets up. We do have as well another model that we look at. So let me advance past this one, and we'll be heading to the European model now. So we'll advance this through Saturday, even into Sunday, and you could see that winter storm potentially. I mean, look at that, going up into the Carolinas, perhaps with some heavy snow across North Carolina into Virginia. And again, folks up north are looking out because this thing, if it develops and if it moves over land, could be a significant snowstorm depending on the track of that. Let me show you as well our snowfall accumulation model. This is just going through the week, and I just want to show you this is the same model. Again, it shows any accumulation, and again, keep in mind that this also tends to put all frozen precipitation in. But you can see some of the forecasted snowfall totals. Some of these, we'll see if that even verifies. But this is a deepening area of low pressure. It will be very strong. So wherever it goes, and the air is cold enough, there certainly could be enough snow, even across the Carolinas, a couple of inches. And then even the model is showing up to Georgia. We are looking at least perhaps along Savannah, Hinesville, north and east, maybe a dusting. So again, we'll have to watch that closely. Here's the European model. I'll zoom out here, and you can show as we advance, as I put this into motion. Same idea. However, this tends to bring most of the activity generally across the Carolinas. There's that area of low pressure spinning around right here. And the European model, I mean, look at that deepening snow across North Carolina and Virginia. And these are where snowfall rates could approach perhaps an inch or more an hour with this area of low pressure right here. I'm circling it, really deepening. It's a good thing this isn't in the summertime because we probably could be talking about a different thing. But this is a very strong system. Again, some wraparound flow across the Carolinas. And then this has the system, look at that, across New England as this goes to the north and east, perhaps bringing some very heavy snow to areas that have already seen it. Snowfall totals, here's the European model. We'll be talking about this all week. But you notice most of the activity, the highest accumulations generally across the Carolinas, potentially up into New England, and some of those totals fairly high across the Carolinas. Now, one thing I want to show you as well, the wind chill potential, because on the backside of that low, remember, an area of low pressure, it spins like a clock. So what that means, I'll go back one frame, and I'll kind of, what we'll do, we'll let this play out. I'll show you generally how low pressure is circulating. So as this advances into next week, you'll see, again, most of the snow to the north, but an area of low pressure, it spins like that. So I'm kind of drawing here the rotation of a low, and because we're on the left side of the low, our wind direction will be coming in like that behind the system. So all of that cold air to the north is why you see wind chill values eventually approaching as we back up the camera there. It looks like the computer's jumping just a bit more. Let me go back one more. You'll see that wind chill forecast into Sunday morning. I mean, this is pretty remarkable. Look at these wind chill values, teens, and even some spots near the single digits. That is very cold out there. So it looks like the worst of the cold is yet to come across our area, and our 7-day forecast will verify that. Again, one thing we can't show you is the wind chill value on the 7-day, but single digits, perhaps potentially teens across our area with highs only over the weekend in the 40s. That is close to 20 degrees below normal by Saturday and Sunday, and overnight lows will be in the 20s and 30s. So a lot to talk about Of course, we'll update you as we get closer, but we'll be back with a look at our national forecast in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Well, let's take a look at temperatures on a zoomed out view. And these are the temperatures across Florida this morning. Keep in mind it's almost 12 o'clock, and Pensacola's 34, Tallahassee 36, 37 in Jacksonville. Orlando's only near 40. So that is very cold. You can see how far reaching that cold is. Tampa's in the mid 40s, and then of course a bit milder more to the south. But regardless of where you are, it is much colder across the entire state and the peninsula for that matter. Now, in terms of our temperature, colder air continues to filter in. You can see those single digits and teens across the middle of the country. And when you factor in the wind chill, look at those numbers, generally below zero, if not just above zero and into the 20s and 30s. So this is a far-reaching area of cold air overhead. Coldest of the air is across the plains. But again, we are tracking a big cool down across our forecast, and everyone prepares for the winter weather, right? Even the zoo, right? Plenty of animals there, and zoos are preparing for the winter weather. So let's toss now to that with the latest information on how animals are getting ready for the cold.
We've been preparing for this for the last couple of weeks, knowing that it was coming. So we took measures into place. We wanted to make sure that we had extra propane heaters ready and available. Heat lamps, straw, hay, anything that these animals might need just to make them a little warmer, a little bit more comfortable.
Robert Trejo, the Abilene Zoo's general curator, says they also have heated indoor buildings for animals to move into, including the new Caribbean Cove exhibit.
Where in the past you wouldn't be able to see these animals. They'd be put away for the whole winter season, such as our sloths. We kept getting a lot of our guests would come in and ask where the sloths are, where some of these other birds are. Well, of course, they're in the back in a nice warm area, but now you can actually see them. So having this opportunity is nice because as you can see, it's nice and warm in here. It's temperature controlled, and the guests can still get a chance to see these animals.
Despite the freezing weather, zoo staff still came in every day to care for the animals.
We've got to make sure they get food and water. So even though the city's shut down and the streets are it's hard to drive, these keepers managed to get here.
Trejo took us around the zoo to show us how these animals are still being cared for, despite the icy conditions. He says that in addition to the keepers, veterinarians and other essential staff are also on site.
And we also have maintenance on staff as well, so in case there's cracked pipes or the heaters somehow malfunction, we have people that are here who are able to turn them on and make sure that everything's functioning.
And while some animals stay warm indoors, others are actually enjoying the cold.
And they get what we call the zoomies, where they get a little excited and they start running around. It's always fun to watch.
Animals such as the bison and the Maine wolf were able to go outside and play in the snow.
We do provide a shelter for them that they can at least get away from any heavy snow, so they can go underneath there, but they love playing in the snow. It's new to them. It's kind of like when people see the snow for the first time, they run around, they start building snowmen, having snowball fights. These animals are no different. They love to walk.
It is cold out there. Of course, animals need to prepare for the cold as well. But again, we're tracking those chilly temperatures not only for today, but over the next few days. So temperatures you can see across our area, again, we are tracking teens and 20s across the region. Look at that snow cover as well, extending all the way down to Texas, which, by the way, that's where that story was. You can see that snow on the ground, and it continues to be with temperatures being so cold across the area. Our temperature setup, by the way, is showing the colder air overhead as we head over the next couple of days. By the way, it's so cold, you can even carve an ice sculpture and it stays elevated. So a man carved a giant ice sculpture for a snow day. Let's take a look at that story and look at how impressive this ice sculpture is.
I'm just playing and having playtime.
With each stroke of his knife, Paul Miller is creating something, well, something totally Texas.
Stock show rodeo going on. I figured a bucking bull would be a good way to represent Fort Worth in Texas.
Well, the bucking bull is very on brand for Cowtown. But one made of 3 massive blocks of ice, that's a little different.
It's a bit of an oxymoron to have an ice carving in Texas.
But when the weather gets cold enough, the chef turned professional ice sculptor loves to put on a show for his neighbors, a few of which stopped by while we were interviewing him.
we came over here to see the ice sculpture. We saw it on Facebook and we were just a few streets away, so it was a good adventure for us.
That's dirt.
It's something Paul loves to do every winter he can.
Took the trash can and filled it up with snow and packed it with water and flipped it over, and I had a block, you know, and I carved it into a gorilla. And I don't have any pictures of that. That's been 15, 20 years from the first snowstorm, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Evolved into something Paul loves to do.
The fact that I can quickly, in a few hours, create some magic and art and see all the people come by with smiles on their face taking pictures.
Helping turn his neighborhood into a true Texas winter wonderland.
Wow, that is impressive. That cold there, you can create the ice and really impressive sculpture there. And really, as I mentioned, the cold is across most of the country today. The only exception, like I said yesterday, whenever you get a ridge or a trough, it's always the flip on the other side of the country. So as the eastern part of the country is cold, the western part is seeing above normal temperatures all the way from Utah to California. Points north and west, snowfall for the day today. We are tracking more activity, at least through this afternoon, with lake effect snow bringing even more activity. In fact, the wind chill potential, the lowest wind chills will generally be to the north. And we are looking at even more cold air overhead, which means snow can stay on the ground. By the way, New York City, as I mentioned yesterday, continues to dig out from this major snowstorm. Let's head over to the Big Apple with the latest information.
It's hard to walk with all this snow, man.
New Yorkers beating the storm, now being beat down by its aftermath. All through the 5 boroughs, mounds upon mounds of snow blocking walkways and covering cars. Added in with icy sidewalks creating their own hazards, with people slipping and sliding and falling. Any slips or falls today? Any close calls?
I slipped 3 times and he fell once.
Many New Yorkers stuck in place, snow posing as cement, locking wheels to the asphalt, miles of white tires and white car hoods.
Just clean it off and then try to move it before it get hotter, you know, because it's gonna get worse.
Spinning tires a fixture on Monday. And when a New Yorker is in need,
back up and then we're gonna do that one more push forward.
It's all hands on deck.
Keep going. There you go.
Snow shovels temporarily replacing dogs, this man's best friend Monday. Assistance on the sidewalk needed on every block.
Property owners, please remember to shovel and salt your sidewalks so that pedestrians can get where they need to get to safely. The city is open and it will get more and more open in the hours ahead.
Pro tips on shoveling from someone from Buffalo who knows.
And the governor showing us how it's done, emphasizing not to wear yourself out.
Don't lift much. Just do it in smaller bits, okay?
And projections show we're near or below freezing into February. This obstacle course staying put for now.
Get yourself ready and do it.
Yeah, and that snow, you know, of course, growing up in New England, used to scenes like that. And when you get that heavy, wet snow, it is very difficult to shovel. And a lot of people exert themselves shoveling like that because that snow has so much moisture and water in it, it becomes heavier. And that's that heavy, wet snow. Typically, you want that light, fluffy snow, and that's easier to shovel. But again, a very significant snowstorm off to our north. And across the south, where we're keeping the freezing low temperatures around. You can see that even into Wednesday morning, strong northerly winds will bring freezing temperatures all the way to the Gulf Coast. And well, because we've had the snow and the cold, trees have been snapping everywhere. And for example, in Georgia, pretty remarkable scene here. Let's take a look.
Along Duncan Bridge Road in White County, trees and power lines are down, and so are the lights and heaters.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Trees down everywhere. The power lines just snap from the poles.
Tim McIntyre is one of more than 30,000 county residents who lost power during last weekend's ice storm, and some who called for help couldn't get it.
There was a time last night that we were only responding to life-threatening emergencies.
The Public Safety Department's Bryce Barrett says rescue crews had to cut their way through roads like Duncan Bridge with chainsaws because too many fallen trees were in the way.
And finally they come back and they said, trees are falling all around us. We're getting back in our truck and we're trying to get back to station.
By noon on Monday, power crews had fanned out across the county, putting lines back up and switching them back on. Residents like Tim McIntyre hope their place will be next. He survived a winter storm that behaved more like a tornado.
Literally, the trees sounded like they started exploding. I was just standing there watching. It was like gunshots going off, trees just snapping everywhere.
Yeah, so that is pretty impressive. All of the trees, the weight of the ice making them come down. And I just want to end with one more thing. Again, that wind chill forecast over the next few days, you'll see the coldest of the air continues to move down. So as we head into the weekend, look at all the way to Tampa, points south, right at that 32 line. And that is very rare for temperatures to fall below freezing that far south in Florida. Coldest of the air, of course, is to our north. So we'll keep you updated throughout the entire week on air, online, and on our weather app. And as always, we'll be back here tomorrow at the same time for the most updated information. So I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
See why every day more people are choosing News4JAX, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.